Salut și bine că mă regăsesc din nou pe ecranele tale. Marian Hurducaș este numele meu și mă bucur să fiu și anul acesta moderator al seriei de interviuri din cadrul Instal Efficiency by Uniprest Instal. De data asta, ediția 2024, după prima ediție pe care am avut-o în 2023. De ce crezi că am amintit ediția din 2023? Pentru că invitatul pe care îl am acum alături de mine a fost și la ediția precedentă, a făcut câteva afirmații atunci și am încercat să aflu dacă acele afirmații mai sunt valabile și în acest an. Este vorba despre Henk-Jan Wegman, care este CEO-ul Rensa Family, o companie care grupează sub numele ăsta alte 18 companii, care are peste 2000 de angajați și în 2022 avea o cifră de afaceri de peste 1 milion de euro. Uniprest Instal face parte din Rensa, din grupul Rensa, așa că există foarte mult know-how venit și de la celelalte surori ale sale din grupul Rensa, din Rensa Family. L-am întrebat pe Henk-Jan Wegman cum vede economia anul ăsta. Mi-a zis că nu e deloc roz și că din punctul lui de vedere s-ar putea ca anul ăsta să fie cel mai dificil dintre toate și subliniez aici că Rensa are o experiență bogată de cel puțin 75 de ani de când lucrează cu sisteme HVAC. Are și un departament de Research and Development, deci viziunea pe care o are asupra pieței este destul de accurate, cum spun englezii. Te invit să urmărești până la capăt interviul și să-ți scoți niște idei pe care, de ce nu, să le dai apoi mai departe. Hai să vedem interviul. Last year, we were here in Bucharest. In the meeting we both had, you said that the Romanian market looks good. At the time, inflation was just at the beginning to be felt, but this year, while the rest of EU countries report decrease in this chapter, Romania is at the third month of reporting the highest inflation in the EU bloc, 7% over. Is the Romanian market still as good as it was last year, or would you send us to worry?
You should never worry. There is always a light at the end of the tunnel.
But the climate is very different.
Yeah, the climate is very different, and I remember last year, it was also in March. We went here, and then we were still very optimistic. But then later on in the year, there was a big drop, also in the sales and the construction market here in Romania. But what I see now, it's a little bit on picking up again. And I think it's also due to the election you have at the end of the year. So a lot of government investments, which is going on, which gives a positive influence.
I wouldn't say investments, but
spending, government and spending, maybe. But you see that the market is a little bit growing. That's also what I hear from my
Aren't we dependent on government investment? Too dependent.
Yeah, well, I think that's not typical Romania. That's what you see everywhere in Europe.
Interesting to hear that.
Yeah, because you see the same, that the influence of the government is most of the time bigger than they know themselves.
How's in Holland?
Yeah, it's also a big influence because we are very on the construction market, but we are also in the energy transition, and I see the same in Germany. And especially on the energy transition, the influence of the government is very high because they subsidize, and now and then they put in the regulations. And if they change the regulations, so when they are not stable, it always influences the market. And it's the same, I think, in Romania. If your government is not stable and it's not a clear policy, it will influence the market because uncertainty gives the reaction of fear, and so people are not investing. And if people have a clear surrounding, they will invest.
It seems like Germany, you mentioned the German people, seems like the Germany, it's not a big fan of this green transition.
Yeah, it's a little bit depending because they were a big fan, and then one of the ministers, so one of the guys of the government was certainly changing the date, and then it blocked the total market. So they are fan of the green direction, but they are not fan of the speed with it will happen and it should happen.
It's like let's invest in education, but no one does it because education is not a big ROI year after year, or not even to talk about month after month.
Yeah, that's right. You cannot immediately calculate it back, so people are withdrawing a little bit and just waiting what's going to happen.
Rensa Family
Yeah.
is made up of 18 companies, has almost 2,000 employees. In 2022, it closed a turnover nearly €1 billion. Cumulative experience plus the observation of your specialist can help us to better understand the direction in which the market are headed. Tell us what to look out for this year. You have the experience, you have 18 companies and many countries you are in.
Yeah, and that's a very difficult question, because what is the outlook of this year? I think it's one of the most difficult years in the history for the construction market and what's going on, because we don't know what the inflation rate is doing. We don't know what's happening between Russia and Ukraine. We don't know what's happening in the world. So you see a lot of influences on the expectation of this year. And you're right, we ended up very good in 2022, and even 2023 we had a higher turnover than you just mentioned. So it was close to 1.3 billion. But it's very hard to say what's happening now. So, because you see a big drop in the construction market, you see a big drop in the photovoltaic market in Europe, and our people are catching up to build together with the installer to come to solutions to bring it to the market. So it's hard to say. I hope if we reach the same as last year, I will be very very proud that we would have reached, but I expect a small decline of about 4 or 5%.
You said it's going to be the most difficult, and I think worth to mention that Rensa Family Group goes back, way back in history. You are the third generation of CEO.
Yeah, I'm the third generation of the CEO, but the company exists already over 75 years, so we have a long history. This is one of the most difficult ones to expect what's happening, because normally we always can expect, we put in efficiency, we put in regulations, we put in new things, new ideas, and then we know that we grow, and what's happened all those 75 years ago. But this year is very difficult, so we need to say what's happening, to see what's happening.
It's a fair answer, because there are a lot happening in the world, Europe especially, and on top of that we have a lot of technology, new technology that is in development now, and the impact is literally unknown now.
Yeah, it's unknown because it's new development. It's also expensive development. So people need to invest a lot of money if they want to have an heat pump, or it's much more expensive than just a gas boiler. So it's really the question: how is the market adopting it, and how is the government dealing with it, and how we can react on it.
We are talking about efficiency and how the Rensa families goes with strategies to improve the efficiency within the company. You are a big company in many countries with a lot of employees, many regulations you have to adapt to, so the strategy must be very complex.
It is complex, but we make it as simple as possible. So we only have one goal, and that's to be the best. To be the best in all kinds of activities to help the installer to bring the good products to the market. So we are not only want to sell products, but we also want to sell knowledge, and we want to sell efficiency. And that's what we're working on, because you see a lack of very good installers all over Europe.
So it's not only in Romania?
No, it's not only in Romania. It's also in Germany and in the Netherlands, where we see a lack of good people, because there is too much work, so they find a good way. And then we come into the phase that we want to offer the right services and to offer the right knowledge to take out the mistakes in the supply chain.
What are the biggest operational efficiency challenges in the industry in which Rensa Family operates, and how are these challenges being addressed?
Yeah, I think it's very in line with the answer, and we don't have the right people to install, so we are now looking for solutions to, you can call it job carving. So we let the installer do what really an installer has to do. And we try to, by prefabrication, by giving good advice, by making things simple for the installer, to take some work from the installer to our company, so he can do what he is good at and what he is needed for this really knowledge. And all the rest we like to optimize as good as possible. So we develop configurators to make the easy choice which one you need. We do prefabrication, so we can bring it on the right time on the spot where people need it. And the installer has a kind of plug and play to install and make it ready for use.
Do you have programs to improve the know-how of the market, knowledge sharing, education, I don't know, the Rensa Academy?
Yeah, we have a lot of those programs. We do, you call it Rensa Academy, but we do a lot of YouTube training. We have the Tech Talk, we call it. So like we are sitting together now, but then really an expert out of the business is telling about the installation. We are working together with a lot of universities, like also in this congress, our speaker of the university was telling, to do the co-work and find together a solution to come close to the market and make it more easy.
How companies and academic environment close the gap?
It's not easy.
In Holland.
Yeah, well, we do a lot with supporting programs out of the university, so we do some research for them. They help us to send in students, we work together, we give lectures, and Patrick will show up later today and he will also give a lecture on how to use digital information to optimize your processes. And there we work very closely together because it's a new world for us, and it can also help the universities to make the next step to create new knowledge.
What are the most important lessons by Rensa Family in the process of improving efficiency, and which could be used for other companies or organizations? You're a big company with big history. Definitely we have some lessons there.
I think we can always learn from each other, so we have some lessons. But I think the most important one is to have a clear goal. So know what you want to reach and be patient. Because the adapting in the market, it always takes a little bit longer. And we always want to go very fast and to speed up. But before a market adapts, it takes a little bit of time. And what we learned a lot, that people are most of the time thinking in prices and not about cost. And together in the supply chain we should discuss not about the price but about the cost in the supply chain. And if you make it more efficient, you reduce the cost, then the price is less important. You always have then the good price. But you can, if you reduce the cost, everybody can earn a better profit, and you are able to put more efficiency into the market.
Basically, we are talking about patience, to have a general cost lower than the price you have in front of you.
Yeah.
And that price can give you in a spreadsheet year-over-year growth or month after month. I'm a big I'm a big advocate for that idea, even in my marketing strategies. By the way, how is social responsibility and concern for the environment integrated into efforts to improve efficiency within the Rensa family?
I think that's a very important part. We call it family because we are a family-owned company, and that means we have a long-term perspective. So our long-term perspective means we need to have the social responsibility for our people. We have people working over 40 years, so they are for a long time with us, but we also want to leave the world a little bit better for the next generation. So sustainability is a very high responsibility for us. And we just announced to be the most sustainable merchant in Europe because of a big reduction of energy use, a big reduction of carbon dioxide use, and we are working on reducing packaging. Mm-hmm. So, in that way we take up to social responsibility, and the other side of social responsibility is that we also have a kind of supporting, supporting activity to bring heat to the people. So in countries where it's more difficult to bring the heat, we support those programs. We are supporting the universities, we are supporting people who have some difficulties in working to adjust the work so they can work with us and build together and make it a big success.
I suppose you have R&D programs in the company. These programs are developed only in Holland or across all the 18 companies?
No, across all the companies. Of course, we try to centralize it a little bit to be aligned, but no, everybody is working on it to improve it. And every time, and that's the advantage of 18 different companies, you can learn from each other. So the Dutch guys learn from the Romanian learn from the Dutch, and from the German learn from the Dutch, and the German learn from the Romanian, and so we can work together. And because every country is in different states of development almost, and with all different aspects, and now we can learn.
Can you tell me one thing you learned from the Romanian?
Yeah, we learned from the Romania it's staying very close to the market, and that the drive of the people to work for it, to stay close to the market, to bring this kind of congresses, to transfer the knowledge on a different way than we do in the Netherlands. So we learn a lot of them.
What was the echo after the first event, Install Efficiency 2023?
I had a very positive feeling about it because now I see more people. So that means the reaction is very good. So more people are coming, and they appreciate, I think, the share of knowledge. And there was also the echo of the first one. Mm-hmm. I saw enthusiastic reaction. People were enthusiastic about the sharing of knowledge. And I think if we all share knowledge, we make the world a little bit more easier.
Definitely. What would you think the impact of AI or 3D printing is going to be in HVAC industry?
I think the AI will be big, because it makes it possible to always find a kind of...
Do you use it already in the company?
Yeah, we use it, especially for making quotations.
Okay.
So you can make it very quick and you can make it very accurate. But also to transfer knowledge, we use AI. We also use AI to optimize processes, to learn the system, machine learning, to find the good services to our customers. So there we see some big steps. 3D printing, I think the impact will be a little bit lower, because we're talking a lot about it, and
no one does it. It's still expensive.
Nobody really doesn't, because the efficiency is not there.
It's not efficient yet?
No.
What should happen to be efficient?
Yeah, then the speed should go a little bit higher, because if you now see, we are in a lot of products are on one side custom made, but on the other side are mass products, so everybody can use it. Mm-hmm. And then it's more efficient just to use a normal machine instead of 3D printing. I think 3D printing will be used much more for special products, and then it can bring something.
For R&D, basically.
For R&D, for the first step, maybe to build a house now and then. But in the Netherlands, they built a few houses with 3D printing. But the process is still very slow. You can do it much better by industrial way of making houses. So prefabrication parts of it, bring it together, and then it goes much faster than 3D printing at the moment.
I think I have all the answers I needed. Thank you very much. Hope to see you again sooner than 1 year.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to talk together. Thank you.